It's Digest. I'm David, and I'm joined today by Alex Prestia of miniMAG. Welcome, Alex.
Hi, thanks for having me, David. I'm Alex. I'm editor-in-chief of miniMAG. I've been doing it for about 2.5 years. Glad to be on the podcast. First time, long time.
Yeah, it's an honor, man. It's one I've been wanting to have you on at some point for anything I could find an excuse for a long time. So I'm glad we were able to touch base. And the timing of this, the idea of this series, highlight cool projects, talk to people that are doing interesting, creative new things. I was thinking with the coming of the new year, I started the TOOKY'S Mag stuff around New Year's. I wasn't necessarily a New Year's resolution, but kind of was. I suspect more people might try to do literary mags or maybe get into writing and want to submit to a mag of some sort or a zine, however people say that.
I think zine.
Is it? Okay, I've never said that out loud before.
I avoid saying it out loud. It embarrasses me.
Sounds very uncool. Yeah. But I guess I wanted to pick your brain for a bit about, I guess, one, just to learn more about miniMAG, and I guess give my endorsement suggestion to anyone before even getting to it to definitely to submit. Alex is someone who will be a champion for your writing and someone who can help put your stuff out there. But I guess just learn more about your process getting into miniMAG, and then maybe we can talk about some of the stuff you've learned, running a mag yourself, maybe pitfalls you've seen other people fall into, and your thoughts on writing generally. So, maybe a good place to start, because I know a little bit of this story and it's funny. Maybe a good place to start is the origins of miniMAG and what it is exactly.
So miniMAG, what it is like 10 to 20 pages a week, digitally released magazine, and that's the best way to say it. We run poetry. I
Mm-hmm.
run a lot of fiction, art if people send it in. Otherwise, I make AI slop. All sorts of
The Feather Girl art is amazing. I'll probably put it in the video loop or something. If not, people need to check it
by
out.
Irina Tall.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
need to get
she's
in touch with her.
amazing. And what's cool about it, and I think Irina Tall is a great example of this. It's just people reaching out through the internet, sending me stuff they made, and trusting that I'm going to put it in the magazine and try to show it in the best light I can. So, like you just said, David, people out there, if you have art that you like, if you have writing that you like, if you think it's intense, it keeps to a point and it's short, send it in. I will make it shine the best I can.
You were consistent, by the way. I have to compliment you on that. You were like clockwork, once a week, and that's a heck of a schedule.
Yeah, it's hard. So thank you for that. So yeah, miniMAG is weekly. Every week it changes sometimes based on my work schedule because just life, but it's usually out on Fridays now. Should be consistent for a while on that. But yeah, I think I'm at 126 issues or something. This week's issue will be 126 and haven't missed one yet. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It like you were saying, like it takes a discipline to, okay, on Wednesdays I need to do this, on Thursdays I do this, on Fridays I release. But other than that, it's really not that difficult. You guys can Jordan Peterson it yourselves out there for sure. And that would be my advice, is like, if you're trying to start a magazine yourself, just do it, stay consistent. Don't expect everything in the world to come to you immediately, but like stay with it.
Yeah, I've seen a few people comment about thinking about doing it, and my feedback has always been like, just do it, because if you're not gonna just go, there's a lot of resources out there to look into, but I mean, ultimately, it's stuff you probably know how to do to some extent. Like, it really is, or you're learning formatting and things like that, and then just outreach. And how do you normally find people? Like, how do people typically submit to you? If not, I know you have the email that's listed directly, and I'll link it below.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's an email. That's the typical way to reach out. That's definitely the best way. Um, like when I started miniMAG, it was just me. And I told myself, you have enough writing for 10 weeks of this. If nobody submits by the 10-week mark, maybe just let it go, you know? But I committed to myself
Mhm.
10 weeks. And so the first 4 issues are just me. Like literally just me. Don't go look them up if you're reading this. Well, actually do. The only way you can get to them is through a paywall. So if you pay, you can go look. But
That's
otherwise,
a
please
lot of
don't.
content to burn through, by the way.
Yeah, it's a
Just four
lot of
issues of just you.
there's a lot of backlogs and it's just me at the very those first four. And then I was just like posting on Lit was a big place trying to find something, but that got, like, 2 submissions. I would go, like, asking my
Mhm.
friends who wrote to send me stuff, and it was a hustle at the beginning. And then now, I honestly don't know how people are finding it anymore. There's a lot of different places you could find us online through Twitter, through Instagram, through Substack, and, not enough people write in their email how they found me, so I don't know. When a professor from Israel sends something to my inbox and then the next day someone from Palestine sends something to my inbox, I'm like, how did both of you find me this week? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on?
Bridging the gap.
It's nuts. I don't know how people find it, but you just got to put your name out there. Like we're saying, if you're going to do a project like this, you commit to it, you start working on it. The one thing that drives me crazy is when people are saying they're gonna do something for months and months and months and they never do anything. Um, I don't really love like scientific studies. I don't believe a lot of them. This is a nuts thing to
Mhm.
start with. Like the replication crisis, I believe is very real, but they there was a study that said just telling people you're gonna do something fills that part of your brain that like makes you
The
think that you did
satisfying.
it. Yeah, it gives you a little bit of that satisfaction.
I sent a pissy email to someone about this recently, actually, about this person would always email me, "Oh, I'm going to do X." And I was just like, just don't email me, actually.
Just do it.
Because then,
Yeah.
yeah, just do it. And it's okay if it takes you a day or two to do it, but just do it because you always say you'll do it and you don't. And you're like,
Right.
I believe that too. It scratches the itch. It's the same as like video games. It's like you act like you're fulfilling a task, but it's just like the feeling.
Right. It's checking off the boxes and your brain is saying, "Oh, I'm happy." Just that little
Yeah.
bit of happy, but it's enough. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Endorphin release of like, oh, I satisfied the need to do that. Okay, moving on. Now I can go.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So I don't love when people do that. They do in the writing community, people talk about their first novel and how it's going to be for 5 years. Meanwhile, you've got people out there putting out 3 books. And like
mhm.
they're not all great. Yeah, like your first book kind of probably is going to suck, but at least you did it.
And oh, and the other thing with just having done TOOKY'S Mag, which is a Substack, I had a similar, well, maybe the opposite experience. My plan was to incorporate a lot of other people's writing, and then I went more the selfish guy route of uploading less frequently and just doing more of my own stuff. And a big part of that I found was it's a lot more labor intensive to review people's work than I thought it was. So I'm curious how you handle that, because at least for me, like to read people's stuff and assess it, it was more of a bear. I don't know. I guess as a casual reader, I just thought like, oh, I can read stuff and know in a second whether I'd want to run it or not. But I'm much more persnickety now than I thought I'd be.
Yeah. Well, and you have to be because this has got to be a critical platform, right? And that's where it's a little bit different where I'm also reviewing a lot of work and I'm getting a lot of stuff sent to me and I'm reading through it, but I am reviewing it in a way where I don't I have to be careful how I say this. It's not about whether or not it's good all the time. It's whether or not it fits my vision of what that issue is going to be.
Hmm.
So, if it's the things that drive me crazy personally, and I think as a reviewer, you always have to look at like, maybe I don't know what's God and what isn't, but maybe I know like what things I like and don't like. And what I'm looking for is intense and short. And then I hate things that are overly cliched or that I feel like I've heard before. So when I have that lens on it, it makes it faster to look through things. And then when I know typically the way that I pick pieces is there is a strong piece or 2 pieces that I know I need to have in the magazine. Like, people send them to me, and I'm like, "This story is amazing." Phil Roth sent one called Pinkle Dink or something like that a
Yeah.
couple months
Shout
ago.
out Phil Roth. I love that guy.
He's so fun, yeah, and there's another guy named Tim Frank, and they both are writing in this very like fuck you style. And I was like, okay, these guys need an issue together. And then everything else was filling. Well, not everything else was filling in, but that led me to be like, okay, now I have this piece in my inbox as well that's going to fit in that issue very well. You know, you get
Mhm.
the idea and then you fill in from there. It's a lot easier, I'd say, than like having to tell people why I like or don't like things, because that part sounds hard to me.
No, actually, I relate to that because even on my end, it's a lot of the hard part is getting things that fit the vibe, and I'm much more limited because you change your theme issue to issue. Whereas for me, I'm always trying to hit the same like kind of tone, but it's the same thing where like it does maybe something isn't the most perfect, and maybe there's like some tweaks I would maybe make here or there. And people that submit to me, I always do something back and forth, but it is more dare I say vibe, as the kids say. There's a bit of a vibe, and it hits
Yes.
the theme. But I could see how you have like you have like one or two like anchor posts within the issue, and you're like, all right, this is what this is. This is the fuck you issue, and you probably
Right.
would label it
This
that
is
too.
that one
Phil
was the
Rott's
fuck you
headlining.
issue, right? Yeah, that's a Phil
Hmm.
Rott issue for sure. Um, yeah, like I wanted to say this about Tukey's Mag. What I like about I was thinking this the other day. A lot of what Tukey's Mag sounds like, and that theme is like it sounds like Ken Cosgrove from Mad Men was angry and wrote a lot of these things. You know, like, and
Thank
that's
you.
it. It's like it came from his desk, and or
Mm.
it has this certain vibe to it, and I love that. And there's something to being consistent with the vibe, and then there's me and my inability to focus on anything for too long, or I just again I get bored so quickly on things. I start to think they're boring, so I have to switch the theme every week just for my own
Mhm.
mental issues.
Yeah, I no, I get that. Like it does. Sometimes you do want to write something freaky, and that's the cool thing with miniMAG, where you can theme it by issue.
Yeah.
Um, I had a couple other questions on any other things you wish you knew starting out with a lit mag. So I guess for anyone else that's maybe thinking about going down that road, is there anything you maybe wish you'd done differently, or wish you'd found out sooner?
Yeah, I would say, like, when you're starting, listen to other people's feedback pretty closely, but seek out the right feedback. There were some people who helped out a lot with formatting, with style, with how to make it look. That was the hardest part for me, for sure. I had no
Mm.
experience at all in the publishing side and the making it look good side. And I'm still figuring it out. You'll see every week I make small changes now, and that's how you kind of have to do it if you're going to be consistent. Accept that you're not perfect at the beginning
Mhm.
and then make those little changes as you go. But have a style guide. You need to build like your this is typically the font I use for headings. This is typically the font I use for the body. This is my spacing. All of that needs to be like consistent on some level, and then you can tweak it as you go. But have people giving you feedback who are able to say really mean things to you.
Yeah.
Like, I had friends in design who were like, "This looks awful. You need to make it better." And it helped a lot, but make sure they have your best interests as well, where the best advice they would give at the end, though, is like, "Just keep going." And that would be my biggest advice to anyone is, if you're gonna do this thing, it's not gonna be easy, but just keep going with it.
With you mentioned AI art before. I'm curious your thought. I guess I have a ton of thoughts on AI art
Yeah.
and using it for projects like this. And I know there was just a little bit of drama with miniMAG and its use of AI art. So I'm just curious how your thoughts have evolved or been on that.
Yeah, so, going to X or Twitter, like, I use it as a platform for marketing and promotion, and it's weird when you're posting from the magazine. I don't have a personal Twitter or
Hmm.
X or whatever. I just have the magazine, so I don't, like, wanna clap back too much because it's the magazine, not me. But one
Yeah.
time this guy a lot of very sad this is not really sad, but a lot of things some guys on Twitter like to curate lists of magazines and stuff that they can submit to. It's their way of trying to,
Yeah.
yell into
Make
the
the world a
echo
better
chamber of this
place.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no,
Quote
they just want
unquote.
to hear back from the void. And
Mm.
I think this guy, he saw that, like, the hand on one of the covers is messed up, and that's when he realized that miniMAG was using AI, and I was like, and he canceled me through his from his list for that, and I was like, "Yeah, man, like, we're using AI." People don't realize how long it takes to make art and how expensive it can be for materials. Otherwise, if you're
Mhm.
doing digital, it still takes a long time. So, I want art in the magazine, and a lot of AI art came out around the same time as I was starting things, or at least it got good around that time. And I've just been using it a lot to create and create. I think it's fun. I think it's the same. Well, it's not the same as real art. Real art takes skill as far as brush strokes and knowing like the mechanics of drawing. But what AI art also takes is what they both take is an idea. And if you don't have an
Mm.
interesting idea for your art, it's going to be shit no matter what. And if you don't have an interesting idea for AI art, it's going to look boring and not be interesting. So at least I can say, like, I'm happy that I have ideas with this art. I wish I could execute them with my own hands rather than asking a computer to do it, but it's unrealistic to do 6 pieces of art a week by hand.
It's a huge trade-off in terms of like the time and attention thing. I guess because I also use a bunch of AI art because I was starting around the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we were
And
early on that.
yeah, I mean, and a real mini mag old heads remember you did a lot of just like little calligraphy, like
Yeah,
sketches in MS Paint early on. I remember.
it's Sketchpad on my iPhone, and
Uh,
I'm still doing that for the books, but yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing art.
yeah, just little dashes, which was like added a charm to it too. But the AI art, I think it's just it's. I guess I share some reservations with like the long term consequences of
Yeah,
AI art in society, but it really is in terms of I just need a visually appealing thumbnail or like a chapter break image. Like it really is perfect for that. And then you can
yeah,
make something that's a little more tailored. And then the alternative being you would just be using stock images, right? Like if it wasn't AI art, it would just be a more generic image that you pulled for this, just like semi-related, even less related. Um, I don't know. It really is. Maybe it's a tragedy of the commons thing, but I think I think it's the way to go. I think if you are doing this kind of stuff and you're not using AI art, you're setting yourself you're either gonna have to use really generic art that you just pull from Google,
yeah.
or you're gonna
Wikimedia
be
Commons.
yeah, or you're going in, or you're either going in the hole, or you're really like screwing somebody who's an artist, and making them put in a lot of work for, yeah, not much in exchange.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Irina Tall again. Like, she did the art on issue 125. I think she's done 12 issues of miniMAG now, and she
Yeah, they're
primarily
gorgeous.
she's doing collages. She doesn't even glue them, I think. And she
Mhm.
takes photos of that. That lets her make a lot of art quickly. And then I guess for her, she realized what miniMAG can do as far as promoting her. And I want to say to like anyone who makes any kind of visual art, save us from the AI by sending me that art, okay? Because
Mhm.
I'm not doing the AI art because I necessarily want to. I'm doing it because I have to. And if you have any kind of art, I will run that over the AI art.
Mhm.
Ideally, I do maybe 4 AI issues a year. I think that would be more fun, but right now it's like 75% of them, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely wouldn't have been aware of her if she hadn't been in Minimag, and she is, yeah, she's extremely talented. Every issue I see
Yeah.
that has the bird women, I always like comment. He was like, "Oh, the bird women are back. Let's
Yeah.
go."
It's so cool. It's so,
um,
so cool. She's from Russia. She went to I forget the exact name of the college, but it's like the Slavic Art Studies Institute. Like she's
mhm.
neat. She's really neat.
um, okay. Anything else like pitfalls for people creating journals? I guess. Otherwise, I might be curious. I guess if you have anything else on the writer side.
Yeah, so on the pitfalls, yeah, we'll finish the pitfalls of like creating it. It takes a lot of patience. We all want to see those numbies go up. We all want more subscribers and
Mhm.
followers. Shout out to the tuggers, by the way. I think like
Mhm.
5% maybe like 3% of my Substack subscriptions come from recommendations from
Let's go,
TOOKY'S. So
Tuggers.
like Tuggers, yo, what up, guys? Thank
We're
you.
yanking it. We're pulling it.
You guys are pulling. You're yanking my chains, boys. I love it.
Setting up cross collabs would be good too. Just on my side in terms of just setting up relationships with, I guess it's just networking. Maybe this is networking 101. I'm just regurgitating. But just like people like us connecting early and like on Substack. Or actually maybe that's an angle of this. Platform. Like, do you think if you were starting out right now, would you emphasize being on Substack more, being on your own website more, being on Twitter or Instagram?
That's a great question.
Where's
And
the growth?
I wonder all the time because I do have my own website at minimag.press, and I keep that curated and I pay for that. Whereas like Substack is free and it does a lot of the same stuff. And it ends up like that's probably the best place for having an email list that sends out to people. Although the issue with Substack is they're sending other email. Once you give them your email, they're going to send you a bunch of random emails. So, like when I had my own email list from my website and I was sending that weekly, it was getting 50% to 60% of those emails were opened and clicked on. It's like nuts. And now it's switched to Substack. I'm at 35 to 40.
That's still very good for Substack, by the way.
Is that good? I don't know, but I just know that that's a huge drop. So, you know, you got to be ready for that. But at the same time, I think I got to recommend Substack over anywhere else. I think just the fact that you can get paid off of it very easily. They do pay you when people give you money, so that's nice, and you don't have to pay for it in any way. I don't think it networks super well, but it's obviously doing something through the recommendations. I think the recommendations do the most work there. So recommend other Substacks will recommend you. I've had people like email me being like, hey, you stopped recommending my thing. Could you recommend it again? I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was such a big deal. I actually didn't know recommendations existed until somebody sent me that email. And I was like, wait, what?
It's like I was recommending. Who was I recommending? I was just clicking.
Who is this? Yeah, I was just clicking things. I'm a monkey, guys. Like I don't know anything. And that's when I went in and I looked. I was like, oh, TOOKY'S Mag is really helping me out here. Hell yeah.
It's surprising the way it flows too on the recommends. And there's a whole thing with the Substack where recommends work so that when someone subscribes, they get just a pop-up that says, oh, do you want to also subscribe to this person?
It's like these 3 random people.
Yeah. And, you know, every 1 in 10 people will say, yeah, why the hell not? I'll check it out.
Right.
If they say they're cool, I'll check it out. And then there's another thing where I think at the end of every month or every third month, they send like, you know, oh, here's some people who are recommended by people you follow. And so you get a couple little, you know, follow-up chances there. And people just surf on Substack. I've never done that. But there are people that just will kind of, you know, just browse the search function on there for topics or something. It is, I will say it's harder, from what I've seen, it's harder for fiction to thrive on Substack than essays.
Yeah.
At least
it's definitely not
stuff.
for that.
Yeah.
It's not, honestly, Substack isn't for what I'm doing. It doesn't understand what I'm doing at all. And it wasn't built around this. I upload images directly to Substack in a PDF. So that's not what that platform was made for, but it still works for me. And I think that's a good lesson for anyone starting anything is like, be flexible and find out what works, maybe outside of the range of what normally should work for it.
Oh, I'm sorry, but were you saying something else about in terms of pitfalls and such, or?
Not really, but as far as other platforms, I think I want to get more on Facebook. Those people seem to read a lot. They're older,
you know, I've heard good stuff about Facebook. Friend of the show, Lewis Woolston, swears by Facebook.
And a couple, like, again, miniMAG, I don't know how people find us, and it's amazing because I get a lot of geezers, and I love you geezers, and you guys are older, and you bring a different view of the world, and I think that's awesome. But a lot of them are on Facebook.
Geezer posting.
Yeah, I need
60-year-olds.
We're trying to geezer max over here.
It's a really mixed crew in a very cool way, because you also have a ton of, maybe it's because I know you've spent a lot of time in Asia, but you have a bunch of like Chinese poets hanging around, at least for a while.
Yeah,
there's a big Asian population too.
Yeah, Tim Yeo, Yolan, Fetus Circle is the best way to translate this other girl's name. No, Fetus Park. Fetus Park.
Fetus Park. Okay.
Yes, in a park you would visit. And yeah, those people are wonderful. I knew them personally in Shanghai. We don't stay in touch as much. We still talk. A
Mhm.
couple of them visited Thailand. But yeah, so that's brought in some diversity, but like this is something you see people talk about all the time in the lit mag zone is like diversity, inclusion, all that. And like I never what I love about miniMAG is I never put out like we're only supporting this kind of writer. We want to find writers of all kinds. I never said anything like that. Yet people from everywhere in all walks of life have just been sending in stuff, and I think it's amazing. It's so cool to get to see like the goal is always with writing to put your soul on the page in some way or another. And I get to see these people and like what they're writing about, the thoughts they're having. They're similar to ours, but maybe the setting's totally different. And it's been so cool to do that and feature them in a way that like it's not like I'm banging the diversity and inclusion drum. I'm not trying super hard to like I'm not trying to be so inclusive that I'm exclusive, where people feel like they can't get in because they're this or that, right? But
Mhm.
it just kind of did find a following of just all sorts, and I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's super interesting, especially the internet, where I feel like there's a sort of a in-group out-group formation that
Yeah.
happens. Yeah, like I just think it's something I'm concerned about in the kind of circles that we usually float in on this podcast. Like I don't want to overly typecast, right? And
Yeah, but y'all got a circle for sure.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know. And to some extent, that's normal. But then,
Yeah.
there's something. I don't know. It's very admirable. And it's cool that you've
I
just naturally had
Yeah,
this
I
like
I
all
don't know how
comers.
it happened. I don't know what it means. I think it's cool. I'm trying not to mess it up. So let's hope that doesn't happen, but
Mhm.
okay, yeah.
Hopefully, I don't blow up your spot. I
Yeah, whatever. I think the other thing about growing slowly that's nice, like we all want the moon and we all want it tomorrow, but people who see miniMAG week by week, they know what the vibe is and they're not going to cancel us over something stupid. Like they're going to see like, maybe I didn't love that story and where it's coming from, but I know the intentions are good here. People are trying to just put their soul on the paper. And maybe I didn't like
Mhm.
that guy's soul today, and maybe I'll reflect on it tomorrow. But it's if you know someone and they don't blow up super fast. The fans are true fans. The fans aren't going to be like these fair weather. Oh my God, Kill Tony made a joke about Puerto Rico. Like that. It's going to be more. They're with you. They know who you are. They know what the style is.
Yeah, it's a little more like rough and ready, street arty of just like I don't know.
Right, right.
It's a
We're
little.
throwing shit at the wall, basically. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you want to just like, I have a similar thing, some mini mag stuff and like some Unreal Press stuff where a certain story, if I'm partway through it, I'm just not digging it. I'm like, I'll just skip this one because then they
Yeah.
have more in the issue, and that's part of the beauty of it is like they're throwing some weird stuff at you, and so it might not be your speed.
If you love something from miniMAG, I've done my job. But if you hate something from it, I've kind of done my job too. Like the goal
Mhm.
is to make people feel something in this fucked up world or whatever. Oh my God, that's so lame. Anyway,
I agree
but
with it though. I recently heard a saying like you gotta earn that 1-star review.
yeah,
Like everyone gets some 5 stars from friends and family, but
that's
you
a
gotta
good
work
ass
hard to
point.
piss
Yeah,
somebody off.
make someone hate it. And I think
Yeah.
there'll be some things in miniMAG that it's diverse enough that everyone will hate something.
Mhm. Do you have a like a single favorite issue that
Oh,
comes
I
to
love all
mind?
my children. No, I get ooh. I really love that one where I took people would send me spam emails and I got so many
Mhm.
of them that I just made an issue that just is brain rot internet. It feels like you walked into a real life bazaar of Nigerian
I
email.
think I remember that one actually. Yeah.
That was like a year
Okay.
ago.
Yeah. I remember that one. I remember the gorilla posting. That was a phase. There's a
Gorilla.
gorilla in this room.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's my phone.
That's a
I,
Prestia. That's a deep cut. I won't
that's a deep
elaborate.
cut. Yeah, that poem is named Dom Top, so that should tell people what the gorilla is about. Fuck. Yeah, I mean, I've written a lot of, one of my favorites, one that I hang out with a lot of lady boys here. One that I like to show them is issue 69 is
The sex
about
edition, right?
it's kind of it's a lot of like domination is more what it's about, and one of them named, I can't remember what it's called, Puddle, named Puddle, and that's about how I feel about domination versus submission in sex and stuff like that. So there's some pretty crazy shit in there. Sometimes it's not safe for work. Uh Everyone hearing this now, if this is coming out in January or just before Christmas, then it's probably already out, but there's going to be a titty issue pretty soon, so you guys can enjoy that.
Finally. Yeah, been
Finally, it's been
waiting.
a little while.
Yeah, the last one was the ASCII art, which I did steal from you. Well, I mean, you
Well, we
stole it
both
first,
stole
but
from somewhere. Yeah, I
I'm
didn't make
glad
that
you
ASCII
introduced
art
me to
myself.
it. Which that was another great art hunt. Like, yeah, I don't know why. The things having a schedule will force you to do, right? You have to go down rabbit holes
Yes.
of like this kind of art, that kind of art. What can I download? Where
Yeah,
can I
like
copy
what
this?
is my ideas? When you're making AI art, you always want reference ideas. You need to be able to say maybe you have the artist in mind that you're trying to copy, but also just the what is that movement called? What is post-impressionism? What is pointillism? Like you need to be able to write it that way in the prompt for it to be good. So I'm always on the lookout for stuff, and whenever I see something interesting in real life, I'm like, what the fuck is that called? Because I need to be able to write it
Mm-hmm.
for a prompt.
The prompt. Yeah, no, there is. This is going to sound very lame, but there is a certain. It's not true art, but there is an art to like to writing a good prompt in that way because
Yeah,
you do get some pretty advanced styles that I have not seen other people do. So
thank you.
definitely it pays off.
It's 100% like because AI art is this sloppy thing that you can make thousands of images immediately. So if you want to make it special, you need to be able to like fuse different ideas, fuse different art styles, and have like a real vision of what it's gonna be. And then it still comes out kind of sloppy, but like it's something.
Yeah. All right. Moving on from like the business, the grind set.
Hell yeah.
Any thoughts on like writing generally today, reading and writing in 2024 to 2025 and online celeb writing and all that shit? Like what how do you feel things are going?
I think a lot of people are struggling with this idea. I mean, you've been talking about slop a lot recently and a lot about
Is it showing? Yeah, it's on my mind.
well, no, it's a good topic. I think it's the right topic. And then well, yeah, let's start with this one. We can get the didacticism. Is that how you say it? But
Hmm.
we can get to that after, but as far as like for me personally, when I'm writing, I want it to be literary. I want it to be, and I think that's a stupid term, but again, like this lame thing I keep saying, I want my soul to be on the page in some way. And I'm trying to put
Hmm.
some sort of truth out into the universe that I didn't create that truth. It's nothing new. It's been written before, but I'm saying it my way right now. And for me, writing genre fiction, often what happens is I'm just trying to write something and I'm just trying to fill in a chart, basically. I'm trying to fill in the hero's journey. And really good genre fiction does both. But for me, that's not the direction I like to go. And if just writing genre fiction to write it often feels like, well, I could just be doing a day job. So I don't
Hmm.
see the difference. I mean, I guess there is some sort of glory in it. There's a glory in being Brandon Sanderson, but there's also, I don't know, like it is just a job at that point. I Sanderson might be a difficult one because a lot of people really do love him, but I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I'm torn too because I do like writing genre stuff, but I do
Well, there's the
I
pleasure of it too, right? So like if you're getting a lot of pleasure out of it, then that's cool.
and there's like different levels of effort because there's the slop tier of I don't know. I have very complicated feelings, but the entire like the terminology of genre versus literary, like I think
Right.
is it can be hard. But I know what you mean when you say that. Like I feel similarly in terms of just like very unimaginative, yeah, hero's journey shit, and it's just like it can be paint by the numbers, and I find that concerning, and obviously with the trend, it seems like it's not even the AI, it's that I feel like the audiences have become trained to expect it and to lash out if they don't see it. This came up recently with MC main character likability, right? So some people consider that like a flaw in a book. I'm seeing that more and more. Like if a main character is unlikable, it's like the book is bad. And I don't know, there's like a normalization of some of these ideas. And I don't know, I don't know if it's just because I'm, maybe we're in this world more, so we see it. Maybe it's always been this way, but it seems like it's getting more intense. And then obviously I've been looking into Royal Road and places like that, and then it's even more there because I think that audience is younger, as they're trained up on these likability format. The format is there's a right and wrong way to write a story, which I find myself annoyed at that it's as strong as it is, but yeah,
No, yeah,
I
it
guess I
bums
don't
me
have see any
out.
solution to it. Yeah, which is to say, like, quote unquote literary stuff is often like defiantly against that, right? Even
Right.
maybe to a fault,
Like
where it's
into a,
like the most
absolutely to a
unlikable.
fault. So like point one would be I like you said how effort level with writing where I feel like when I write I put so much in so hard. I go so hard with it that it's hard for me to write a poem that's more than like a page long because I'm just exhausted. And that sounds so lame, but it's like I can't imagine writing 1,000-page novel without just having torn myself into pieces. But
Hmm.
at the same time, sorry, what were we just talking about? At the same time, I'm an
Slopification,
idiot, so I don't know, man.
genre.
Maybe that's why it's hard for me to write a whole page. I can't really put words together, period.
It's all good. It happens to you all the time.
Yeah.
I'll cut it.
No, no, no,
We were
keep
just
at it.
eh.
The people need to see. This
just
guy's not smart. He's
just like fart loudly, refuse
yeah.
to elaborate.
Just please add in farts after everything I say.
I have
Anytime I
thought
say the
about
word
that.
soul, art, or literary, add 3 to 4 fart effects.
I'd like a Mario slipping on a banana peel in Mario Kart sound effect.
Hell yeah,
Whoa!
yeah. Or the blue shell exploding.
Uh,
Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say again. Yeah, as far
mm,
as the literature versus it, I think it's just art, right? Like, what is art, whatever, but when it comes to saying something interesting, something that is true to yourself, you can't follow rules too much because if you're just following the rules, you're just playing a board game. I mean, you're going to get the same result
mhm,
every time. Maybe this character wins this time, that character wins that time, but at the end of the day, you're doing the same thing over and over. So anytime people are trying to put rules on me, I'm already out. I'm already angry. I'm already I'm a bad kid in class in that sense. So I think that's just me kind of rebelling against the idea of rules a lot of the time. But as far as what AI is going to replace, it's going to be anything that it can understand as a rule set, right? So
mhm,
in some senses, as a writer today, you do need to think because it's not going away, but you need to think like, what couldn't AI do? And for the first physical edition of miniMAG, the one called Artificial Dreams, it's like 100 pages long, and they're mostly about AI. I had ChatGPT write something in the style of William Faulkner's "As I Lay Dying." There's a short bit in there by I think it's pronounced Vardaman. It's this like 7-year-old boy whose mother just died, and he's thinking about how he just caught a fish and killed the fish, and now the fish is dead, and his mother is dead. So the fish was a fish, but now it's not a fish, and now his mother was a mother, so she's not a mother now, and his Yeah, and I told the AI to kind of copy that and write it in its own style, and it glitched so hard. And that story is in that edition if anyone wants to go look it up. And it just struggled so hard to do something interesting. But in a
Yeah.
way, it becomes interesting in itself. So maybe it is art anyways. And I don't know. Fart sound
And it's
effect.
ugly. Yeah, it's for sound effect. In its ugly way, it is beautiful.
Right, and that I find with AI especially, like, I don't like anything it does making a person, making anything obvious unless it's a clearly fucked up person. I wanna see some extra limbs. I want the knee to be attached to the belly button somehow, and for me, if I can make that still look a little bit sexy, now I've found something crazy and interesting.
I've had this theory. I might do like a whole topic thing on it at some point, but like just about the novel as a form is if it has a flaw, which I think it does, is I think it often tends to force a certain formulaicness onto it because of the length, which is another reason why I think miniMAG maybe it ties in, because if you would need to fill 80K words, and you need a story and you have to sustain a certain amount of tension, it really does suggest like certain tropes or certain patterns of like highs and low and excitement. Whereas with a flash fiction or a short story or a poem that's under a page, half page, little short things, like miniMAG is built out of these, you can get really freaky and and it doesn't tire you out. Like some of the I've tried to, I think it's one of the reasons I like to do flash fiction stuff, is just because like you can do something really fucking weird, and one, people will actually read it. Like ain't nobody will be reading
Yeah,
it,
people will commit.
yeah, but they'll knock it out and they'll have feedback, and you can give the experience. But the other thing is also with a lot of stories, like I just think when they drag on, it's like oftentimes you've kind of got the shit. Like I think of it because we like do book review type, book club discussions, and a lot of times like the meat of it like is in the style and the form and like what they're doing here, what they're doing there, and then there is cool stuff throughout the story of that, but the plot beats, I don't know, does this make sense? There's a difference between the plot beats and that can be interesting in its own way, but then there's like the writing as a form, which after like a page or two you typically kind of get it, which
Yes.
isn't, I hope this isn't cross, I'm not against novels, like I love novels too, but there's an inherent flaw in that length, in that the plot becomes primary over the style.
Right. It's really hard to keep it going. I think you guys reviewed that one woman's girl. I don't know how old she is.
Oh, Honor Levy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it seems like, and I see this so often where you've got this first chapter that's highly stylized, cool as hell. I mean, really doing something neat. And then either fatigue set in or you decide, I mean, at the end of the day, you weren't able to artistically deliver the full
Mm-hmm.
thing, because a novel is long and a short story is something I can do in 2 days, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the length of the novel is super difficult to get around, but I mean, I also think sometimes I'm making excuses for myself when I say that, because it's not like Virginia Woolf didn't do it. It's not like Faulkner didn't do it. It's not like all these olds from the past weren't able to write these great novels that do maintain the whole way without falling on plot devices too much. But it's hard. I mean, I guess that's why they're great, and that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
still working on it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Yeah, it's definitely doable. It's just,
It's
and
been
also,
done.
yeah,
Maybe
it's
we're
definitely
too
been.
brain rot for it to be doable today. I mean, maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe our attention spans have been ruined by Mario Kart levels being 2.5 minutes long. Um,
100% they have. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe we are trying to do something that's impossible now, and I don't know.
And if you're trying to get readership, that's the other aspect of
Yeah.
it, where I guess I'm struggling to like find ways. I think I'm one of many people, but to get more people to read short fiction, like it
Yeah.
just is. Everyone I know that does it, it is it's a battle, and
Yep.
miniMAG does it well, but like I don't know what is not connecting
It's just
Um,
hard. It's really hard. It's not flashing moving pictures. I mean, we're fighting against thoughts on Instagram who are dancing real sexy in the mirror. I mean, what the hell? I'm
mhm.
happy whenever anyone reads anything because it is harder. Like, it's literally just the path of more resistance to get someone to read something compared to just watching it on TikTok.
Yeah, having it read to you, even, which I get that is actually a benefit of some things like Substack will do that. They'll narrate for you,
Yeah.
um, or you could do video versions of things. I think I've seen some people do that. Like there's actually some people on YouTube that just their whole channel is just narrating short stories, and they actually get pretty good hits.
And now an AI can basically do it for you anyways. So,
Yeah, I've done that a
it's
few times. It's kind of a mixed bag when it's
yeah.
like an AI version reading. Yeah, like it'll sound really good, and then they'll just trip over their shoelaces, just really shake people out of it. Personally, I stopped using it. I just found whatever the built-in in Substack. It's like what Word has had for 10 years, where it just reads it back to you in a slightly robotic
Right.
voice, but it's very consistent. I I, I find that serviceable, and it is less of a time burden. Yeah, because it can be a time commitment to process that stuff more than people might think on like a weekly basis or fortnightly in my
Yeah,
case.
that's something we should have mentioned. I should have mentioned earlier in the episode is like make sure when you're putting a project like this, if it's going to be weekly or fortnightly or Tooky's Maggie, however often that is, make sure you don't overcommit yourself. Make sure you keep your team as small as you can because like we were talking about before this, like it's hard to coordinate 4 people. It's harder to coordinate 8. If you tell 10 people to do something, you told 0 people to do something. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
if you're direct with people, tell them exactly what to do, then you can manage them. But for me, it's a one-man team. It's once I've received the work from the pieces from the artists, it's like, all right, you're trusting me, thank you. Don't talk to me until it's out. You know, like it's
Hmm.
and that's kind of the only way to do it. You can't overcommit yourself to all these different ideas. There's 1,000 marketing things I'd like to do. I'd be on Blue Sky if I thought that that was worth the time, but it becomes like that old adage, time is money, right? Like I only have so much to give.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Yeah, if anything, I'm over strained over too many of these apps because each of them takes time to maintain, or else like
They do.
you just can't sustain it. Yeah, and so I think that's why is if anyone's looking to do this, if you're just a writer and you just have like a couple short stories looking to get out, um, send it to places. But if you want to
Yeah.
have either like a consistent brand or whatever, I think you just gotta pick like fucking two and be like, all right, here's my maybe
Yeah.
one or two platforms I I I commit to. I'll try and grow on. And oh, you know what else? My other thing is, if people are writers, don't just be a writer on Twitter. I don't know. I just think that doesn't vibe very
What do you mean by
well.
just be a writer on Twitter means what exactly?
So you see people, I don't know if Instagram has this too. I'm assuming not, but on Exeter, you'll see a lot of people that they're on Twitter and they're just a writer on Twitter and they'll just talk about wrote 20 words today. Oh
Yeah.
wow, do you like this trope or this trope? Oh, and they, what is it? Writers Lift. They do hashtag
Yeah.
Writers Lift. It's
Yeah.
terribly cringe.
It's
And
also cringe.
you need to pick. Look, you don't have to be like Reactosphere, but you need like a shtick. Like just pick a shtick.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I talk about
Or
restaurants.
fucking
Okay.
make art. Actually make the art, and find a way to put it out there that people will see it. Like it does drive
Yeah.
me crazy how much people write about doing something without actually doing it. It's
Mhm.
worse on Instagram actually. I mean, in some ways.
No.
Because
No,
they
no.
post like a square image that says like it's a Rupi Kaur poem, but it's about how much they want to write. Like it's like 3 layers of cliche and sad.
No words. No words came out of my
Yeah.
pussy
Yeah,
by Ruby Kaur.
no words came out of her pussy. All words came into her soul. Like, okay, what the fuck are we even doing, guys? Like,
It's actually I'm gonna quote, well, not exactly, not direct quote, I'm gonna paraphrase His Majesty Brandon Sanderson
okay.
in that writing is a performance art. Yeah, that's it. Writing is a performance art. And so, you don't see pianists or saxophone jazz dudes going on and saying, "Oh, just practiced for 30 minutes." They don't post that. They just do it, and then they
need to practice.
Right.
Yeah, it needs to be such a consistent thing that you don't think about it.
Yeah.
That one writer, I can't remember who said it, but he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I only write when I'm feeling creative. Luckily, I feel creative at 9 a.m. every day." like,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I love that one. I wish I could attribute it. It's like someone from the 1800s, whatever. He's dead.
That's what I bet. It's better I don't know, so I can steal it.
Yeah, right.
Feed it into my AI art algorithm.
Yeah. Literally.
Anything else like on any other thoughts? But I mean, I looked again. What's next for miniMAG? But anything else? I guess in terms of, well, I guess in terms of your thoughts, advice to writers or possible new publishers.
Yeah.
Writing.
As far as miniMAG, what's next? No, it's just the cycle continues, you know. Samsara until finally my soul just gets. I'm gonna make a miniMAG so good that I just leave the earth, and that'll be cool. But until then, it's weekly, so go look us up on Substack. For new writers, yeah, I mean, miniMAG is there for you. I mean, it's there for getting stuff out. It's not so big right now that I won't read it personally. Like, I still have time to read all the submissions. Um, I still have time to respond to 99% of them. But it's so right now, you know, send me things, put it in the magazine. Let me get used to your writing. Let me start, like, first the issue will be designed around Phil Rott, but if you send me enough good stuff, I'll start designing issues around you, you know, like, there's opportunities out there. There's a lot of other great magazines out there. If you want to start something on your own, go for it. Just, like, commit. Go, like, stick the whole body into the pool. Don't just put your toe in. I don't know why I use that metaphor. Whatever.
That's a good one. That's a good boom. It goes back to our geezer posting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, just jump right in.
Got me.
Firm handshake. Look
yeah,
him in the eye.
Firm handshakes, boys. You know what? The geezers do know some stuff.
Yeah, I really need to submit some more stuff. It's just
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, you guys, yeah. Or not you guys, you.
Yeah, I know. It's so
it's
weird,
a big lift, man.
I find myself talking in we all the time with this thing, and it's like, it is just me.
Yeah. We gotta have that professional air, you know? It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this next. It's just like, it's literally just, one guy.
It's one dude living in Thailand, smoking a lot of weed, and just trying to get his trying to yell into the void, you know? Some people have a list of literary magazines, some people start their own.
That's the way to do it.
I wanted to ask you something about our scene. So this is inside baseball. Is AMP dead?
Oh fuck! You're putting me on the spot, man. AMP, my publisher of my novella Improvidence, get it right now while it's hot, baby.
Wait, it's through AMP?
Sort of. Okay. Basically, he just proofread it and helped me get it ready. Yeah. But Ryan, very nice dude.
Ryan.
Yeah, shout out Ryan. I don't know. I think he's alive. I think he's alive. I think AMP's I think he's gonna come back in like 2 years. I think he's gonna be gone for a while more. I think he'll come back.
That would be acceptable.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting here thinking I killed it, but no, I'm sure it will.
Well, because you edited the last episode, right?
I did the last issue of it, yeah. Damn. And then never heard from again. And the issue was so meta of what AMP is that I was like, oh, maybe that was a lot.
I'm torn on that. Okay, so now we're just talking about like the 4chan writing scene specifically.
Yeah, inside baseball.
But I have a ton of thoughts on it. I want to do, actually, maybe this would be the one to get you back on. I want to do a deep dive. I have a plan to make a SketchUp of like a board with faces of individual contributors with like red yarn connecting them all that I can like zoom in and out of. And then we do like a screen share, record like a 3-hour episode. We go through the pre-literary renaissance, the literary renaissance, and now the current like post-literary renaissance. Oh,
that would be sick. That would be fun.
Yeah. Like it's like 4 years of history or something.
That would be very fun. You can make that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just make it I use Inkscape for a lot of stuff, image stuff. I'd recommend it to anyone that's like just wants to do basic ass vector graphic.
Yeah, you turn me on to that. It does some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's so, and they have a new version that just came out, where they update it pretty regularly. It's like, yeah, it's just super user friendly and it's free. But my favorite thing,
Yeah,
with that free shit. Anyway, but yeah, so I would set up in there and just, I just all plan in my head. I just need like a spare 12 hours to prepare for this, and also to be ready to burn some bridges because, yeah, there's the whole lit scene, and it's unfortunately very dead right now. So you and me, and then I guess Unreal is kind of showing signs of life again.
Yeah, I love those guys. I
Yeah.
wish they did with Nesmer's podcast issue what they did with mine.
What was
Recorded and
that?
they recorded an episode with me in like February, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna edit it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then the same
Jeez.
thing happened with Nesmer's like a couple weeks ago. But I love those guys, and they do put out some really cool anthologies, and they're doing cool stuff. But it is
Yeah.
like maybe the Hydra has too many heads sometimes.
Yeah. I have a ton of thoughts on
Yeah,
I think they need to just, well, here's my thing. You just have to have a
like
clear, like,
yeah,
who does what, and you just,
right.
yeah.
Get titles, like this person does
Yeah.
this. But I mean, again, that's a lot of okay. This is super inside baseball. I remember they released one of their anthologies, maybe the first Tales of Unreal, and they had a podcast issue. I mean, a podcast. Oh my god, we both messed up issue and episode like 3 times here. Whatever.
Yeah.
Fart sound effect. So they're on this podcast episode together. It's like 5 or 8 of them or something talking about the process of making this anthology, and I was just geeking out about how much effort of just passing the football back and forth between these guys. When there's open field in front of them, they could just run in and get the touchdown, but they're just lateraling the ball back and forth to each other. I'm like,
Mhm.
and I mean, it's easy to say from my position because I'm just like this loner that does his thing on his own. But there is too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes. But I don't know. They make good
Yeah.
shit though, and maybe they shouldn't be making like super efficient shit. So maybe I'm just trying to Ford Motors them or something. I'm trying to make it an assembly line, and maybe that would kill it. So who knows?
Yeah. Maybe the soul comes from the suffering.
Yeah,
From
the
are
soul
you
comes
doing
from the
this? Am I doing
collective
this?
suffering of them all.
Yeah. No, it's just the whole lit has become very anti, I don't know. I think there's a few just mentally ill people
There's some
that just
bad
freak out
apples.
anytime they see. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple bad
Yeah,
apples.
there's a
A
couple
couple
bad
like
apples.
unironic
It's
like
lit.
stalkers of
We're on
people.
4chan, man. There's gonna be some bad
Yeah.
apples.
Yeah, so I think they've just kind of backed off that, and now they're just kind of doing their own thing. And I don't know. That's why I'm hesitant to do the history right now, because who knows? I don't know where it's going to go just
Well,
yet.
it's going to keep changing, but
Mm,
it would be fun to like, it's almost like a halftime. We're all in there like planning for the future as well. Maybe that's
mm,
the gist of the episode is we're trying to fix it. We're trying to build something better going forward. And
yeah,
then maybe we draw some of the more chaotic, I'm not going to say evil, maybe they're on the chaotic side of the alignment chart. We draw them out of hiding and they'll shit on us, but one thing that AMP was always able to do is generate controversy. And
yeah.
I'm very bad at that with mine, but I think that's such a powerful tool in this day and age to promote things. And especially if you have a low budget for marketing, which mine is zero. Like, I kind
Mhm.
of wish I did cultivate more controversy. So maybe it's not the worst idea for you to do it.
I think that's a super astute observation, because I think you do not court controversy
No,
enough.
I
Not even in an
don't.
edgy way, but yeah, I think
I'm
it would
putting
serve
out
you
these
well.
like if you read the issues, they're insane. Like the things
Yeah.
people have said, people have fucked dogs in miniMAG. People have like name anything. People have killed their mothers. This African girl wrote about wanting to kill her prostitute mom, and it's like I can't get any controversy off that.
Yeah.
What do I have to do, people?
Yeah, I don't know how. I'm not usually especially good at it either, but there
Yeah.
definitely is. There's got to be a way you can, like, I don't know, maybe you have to go visual. Maybe that is it. Like, to hook people in so they actually read it. Maybe you need
Yeah.
like a vision.
I need to dumb it down or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're too classy.
I don't know, but it is crazy. There have been so many issues where there's something in there that I'm like, this is really fucked up. And I'm like, somebody's going to say something. And they never do. And then they compliment something else in the issue if I hear any feedback at all. And I'm like, all right, I guess I slid that one under.
Story though, or yeah.
Yeah, like, did you read them all? Like,
that's awesome. But all right, man. But you said you have another anthology. It's coming out.
Yeah, it's coming out Friday. It's Wednesday. Yeah. I need to start making it. So that's my next 2 days.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, definitely be out by the time this gets out.
Okay.
So yeah,
okay, cool.
I'll link that. Hope people can check it out. And yeah, submit to miniMAG.
Hell yeah. Thank you to all the tuggers out there. Keep on tugging. You're not tugging alone. You'll never tug alone.
Oh, actually, before we go, if you listened, end of the episode, gang, please, for the love of God, do like, comment, subscribe. If you're on a podcast
Start a
platform,
controversy
give a vote.
For us.
Say something. Yeah, say something really nasty in the comments. Actually, that really actually that is really good, because if people are arguing in the comments, that ups your comments.
Yeah,
and that's like one of the best things for the algo.
YouTube like does something where they kind of push down negative stuff, but like Twitter doesn't. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. So if you have a negative thing to say, please say it on Twitter for us, I think. Mm-hmm. Maybe YouTube. I don't know. What do you think?
YouTube's good too, actually. Even downvoting is good for the YouTube algorithm.
Okay.
So if you don't like something, actually, the better thing to do is to not downvote it even, and don't comment on it saying you suck. Because when you say you suck, that actually, I like it when people say we suck. Because one, it's a comment, so it boosts us. 2, it invites someone to say, actually, they don't suck. 2 comments. Thanks, retard.
Yo, like when that guy was like calling me out for AI on Twitter, I was surprised. I had so many shooters for me, man. Like people were out there fighting for miniMAG. I was like, dude, what up, guys? Very cool. So yeah. Start a fight, boys. That's what we're saying. Go out there, start a fight, tug until something bleeds. Oh my god, sorry. Okay. All right.
That's a perfect line.